Bitcoin is crashing. I repeat, Bitcoin is crashing. This is Around the Blockchain. Welcome to Around the Blockchain. This is Miami DZ on today. Yes, Bitcoin is crashing. We have H-bar under attack. We have Biden doubling a lot of people's taxes and a new altcoin dropping tomorrow. We got some great guests talking about it. We're going to go ahead and get into it. On the top left, always a great time, man. It is Sam Price, and you're one of the reasons I dressed up. It has nothing to do with my legal battles this morning. Sam, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Can't complain. Seeing this crash. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for having me. I love being on ATP.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it for sure. Also on today, we have Firoz. Firoz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you, DC, for having me back on.
All right. You don't have the markets getting you down, do you?
No, never.
All right. Then we also have Evan. Aldo. Evan, are you making money on the way down?
Oh yeah. I've been short like crazy, and all the bulls are silent. So let's hope it stays that way.
I saw you in Miami at Benjamin Cowan's house. You're at least 6 foot tall. What are you talking about?
Funny.
Speaking of height, we're going to go into Crypto Crow and Crypto Crow. Now the markets are crashing, hitting that ground. Are you ready to start scooping, or are you still waiting for lower entries?
Oh, I'm waiting for a little bit of a lower entry, but I've been averaging in, so it doesn't really matter much.
All right. Well, DCA is the way. It's not just Mandalorian that says that. Let's actually talk about the markets. We have Bitcoin. I want to share the chart here. We're going to pull up a coin market cap, and you can just see here on the 7-day track, just boring. Hey, almost 7 days exactly to the hour. We had a nice little dip. The most boring action you could possibly imagine. And then just in the past 24 hours, we've seen a huge downturn there. You could just see it happening around, I want to say it was around 2-3 p.m. today. Now, Evan, you're in your trading channels. There's actually a live look of Satoshi's price per unit there. Now, Evan, what is going on? We have Bitcoin crashing. I have no idea why. What are you hearing? What's the Discord saying? What are you saying on crypto Twitter here?
Yeah, so it's kind of what's been, the main thing. It was just if we could break through 25, that was bullish. If we reject harshly from it, which is what's happening, that's maybe 6 more months of winter here. And I just want to show you in the chart real quick what I've been looking at. I'll show you real quick. The main thing I always want to look at is I want you to keep this. I feel like is a lot underlooked, like not noticed enough on Market Cypher A. Look at the red X here on the 3-day that's printing. This is a very strong indication. Just look at these drops, the times we've seen it before. This was a 23% drop. This trajectory right here was 20%. They're all pretty good. I mean, if you want to get real scared, I mean, this was a 40%, really up to all the way down. That was a 58% drop. Most of them work out. The vast majority, the last 6 to 7 worked out very well. Even back there, I mean, you have to go back a while for this not to give you much here. So I think that we're in for just that bearish trajectory, and we probably got, a nice more 6 months down here. And if the last thing I'll just show you real quick here is my 2-week that I'm really looking at for this to come down and potentially give us another blood diamond. So things are, I know it was a black swan event here, but things are looking a little similar on the charts to what we saw back during March of 2020.
All right, just if you couldn't, pull up that chart one more time. I saw spider lines. Were those spider lines you had up on the chart?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's give a big shout out to Crypto Face. You could watch his videos if you want to learn how to make your spider lines. What is that next spider line to the downside, just dollar-wise?
The next spider line is right at 19,987. So obviously a big psychological area right here, 20K. What I'm looking at for maybe a potential scalp is if we could come down, hit this, and then get another kind of 15-minute bullish div. That's a bullish div. I think this one's probably a bull trap right here if you're going along too early. I think we'll come down and hit this, within the next day or two. There is where you want to look for the scalp long.
All right. Good info there. Thank you very much. Make sure you always check out Evan Aldo's channel. Now, Sam, you're also into trading. You're seeing some levels. You're seeing some value areas. You're seeing some volume profiles. What are the recent action telling you?
Well, I was just live. I went live for the dump just because I love actually watching price action when it's dumping. And honestly, I used to use the 1 minute. Now I use like the 5 second and the 30-second chart.
2 points for degeneracy there.
Yeah. Right now, this is the look, we'll hit the 30-second chart. I mean, you have to. Price is moving that fast. So I was hoping for this double bottom, came back up, and I just find, I'm a simple trader. I find support and resistance early, right? So like right now, Bitcoin has to get back above 20,400. That's like if we can't get back above this, possible kind of like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, we won't get, and I'm looking again, like Evan said, same type of thing. I'm looking for divergences now, 30-second, whatever. That's like, you might get a pump just to the next resistance or to the next point. So I'm watching this closely to see. I just want to see what the blood settle. Like when it's dumping fast, the smaller time frames are eventually going to show you what's called the reversal pattern. Like here, you're not having really any reversal patterns. This was even a flag, and I'm able to kind of continue what's going on. Like I was able to grab this flag, and I say it's likely we're going to drop to there. That's exactly where we went. So I just keep tracking it on small time frames till I get a breather. I almost didn't get a breather. I had to take a break and then jump on your show. So like, but it started just, it did stifle there at 20,000. So like it stopped, I like to like calm everybody down, take a deep breath and look at the big levels, So yeah, I was waiting for this higher high to hold. It didn't. Everyone was saying, could we get a double bottom? The second that wasn't a higher high, I had a feeling we would make a lower low. I wanted this trend to stay intact. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And we could have put in a higher high. Same thing Evan said, we're looking for the 25,006 rejection, 25,200 rejection. We got above that, would have changed the story. If we had just held this long, this low here, I was watching all day. Once we kicked out that low, it was likely we're going to drop. Another cool little trick, just open up a short every time you close a candle below the 4-hour time SMA. Like if you do that, and it's not, it's like it's a predicament trade, meaning like a lot of times you'll trade a falling wedge, put a stop loss somewhere, but this, just every time you see a candle close below it, open up a short. Hold the short with a stop loss on the other side of the 200 SMA. This one was nothing, but if you go back in time and you back test this, and it's funny, I don't know, coincides a little bit with what he was saying with the 3-day drop, but you'll see like there's a nasty drop. Not perfect, but it's the same type of idea. Like nasty drop. If you open up a candle, if you open up a short, the second you get 2 or 3 candles below this 200 SMA, here you did the same thing. You might have missed this initial one, but you could have gotten in here. And I'm telling you, as long as you get the stop loss on the other side of the SMA, and once you get up a little bit, you just bring the stop loss to break even. The worst that comes to happen is you get a little bit of a pump and you get stopped out of break even. But like 70% of these trades play out. So the second we got below the 200 SMA on the 4-hour, I knew things were bearish. Then I saw the bear flag. I even called a short here, right here in this bear flag. It's still open technically. So kind of sad for me. I love to see Bitcoin pump. I like making money either way, but real tough day for Bitcoin.
You did say you have the short still open, and I think that speaks volumes.
I don't have the short open anymore. I don't have the short open anymore.
Oh, well, you know what? You get one extra point.
But the thing is, the short is, if you would open the short when I opened the short, like you'd still be killing it right now if you want it to be. It's up to you. I felt, once I'm in profit, I end the day, call it a day. It could have been more, but it is what it is, So, but that's, I'm waiting for the bounce on a smaller time frame. I can't place it yet. So,
all right. Well, Crypto Crow, right before the show, we were talking about, Bitcoin dominance, the Bitcoin bleeding a little bit, but the alts, especially some of them, they're bleeding even worse. They're in the double digits on the 24-hour. I pulled open my CoinGecko little portfolio tracker. It seemed like I was personally targeted with a lot of my alts. I don't know who's out there, is dumping my bags, but someone is for sure. Please stop whoever you are out there. What do you see moving with the short term as far as Bitcoin dominance? I mean, the alts are bleeding heavy. Is this going to continue, or might there be some short-term relief?
I actually think that we're probably going to continue going a little bit lower. And there were some things that I wanted to show. This is a high block liquidity heat map. And I've been looking at the liquidity gathering and collecting around 19,500. And, now I'm seeing liquidity form up as well around 17.3, which is pretty new. So that's starting to form up while everything else is happening, but we're also getting like a lot of liquidity forming up around the 20,950 range, which is, that we'll come back to this at some point. So I think that the price is likely going to move down a little bit lower. I'm looking at my Wyckoff pattern that I've been kind of messing around with and predicting out for quite some time. I did adjust my pattern to an accumulation 1. Whereas, we already sprung all the way back here at the bottom and basically saying that it's not likely we're going to get a new low. I've been very, very much about and very conflicted with a new low, for a while, but what you can't see, is, we've come down in total market capitalization, almost 11% just in the last 3 days, which means all of the altcoins are dropping. And typically when Bitcoin drops, everything else obviously follows it. Cardano is down 21%. since, what are we looking at here? February of 23, the 24th. So, it's been dropping and more or less free falling for a while, but all of the alts have. Like, everything has been coming down, and I don't necessarily see it turning around and changing anytime soon. If I'm honest, I think we might see somewhere in the 1700s at this point. I've been saying 18.5 for a while, but that liquidity is fluctuating quite a bit as the price continues to move lower. So anything is possible.
You say 1700?
17K. He meant
17,000.
I didn't know.
We're not that bearish. We're not there.
Whoa,
There's other channels that lean that bearish.
I thought he was throwing vase for a second.
Yeah, I don't think we lean that bearish.
I'm trying to be different, Sam.
Hey, hit that like button just for the Bears. The Bears won today, so hit that like button. Pour one out if you are a bull. All right, well, Firoz, I want to pull up the 30-day chart because I alluded in the beginning. Right at 7 days ago, we saw something very, very similar here. You could see it. We were trading sideways in that 25 to 23 range, and then it was just a flash crash down to almost seemingly out of nowhere, and then remained flat for 6 days and 20 hours. For then, just almost exactly 1 week later, another leg down. Was this just TA, maybe calling it big money, hey, we're overbought, oversold, etc., or was there a catalyst that you think maybe presses down? And if so, what do you think that was?
Look, I mean, to be honest, the way I see it, potentially the catalyst here may be the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt that's kicking in across everybody's mind is potentially around the whole Silvergate piece that we're seeing, right? They were the crypto bank for many institutions to ramp on and ramp off crypto, perform arbitrage, trading, settlement. So all of these things, I would say, are playing a part into it. But let me go slightly off tangent here, because obviously I like to look at the alts here. And one thing that I will say is, I think we're all kind of waiting for a bit of a pullback, which is fine. But bear in mind that next month, supposedly, the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade is coming. And one thing that I will say is anyone that's actually looking for a narrative play here, liquid staking derivatives are going to be your best bet here. So if there are alts that you're looking at, I would say look at things like Lido, look at things like Stader. And I'll tell you why Stader, because we'll talk about HBAR later on, but they got a bit of reputation damage from it because a fair bit of the TVL was locked in Stader. And again, Stader is actually on the lower end of the LSD narrative. I think they were sitting around 7 million market cap compared to Lido, which is sitting at around $2.5 billion market cap. So there are some serious gains to be made if you look into liquid staking derivatives.
All right, you said under $10 million market cap. That got me. That has me salivating. I'm gonna give you an even extra point for that. All right, so maybe keep an eye out for that one. All right, we do have some topics. We did want to make sure that we cover Bitcoin crashing and just kind of help alleviate some of the worries out there in the markets. But let's talk about the big guys. 40%. Biden proposing doubling the capital gains tax from 20% to 40%. Caveat: only if you're making more than 400K. Also, a minimum tax of 25%. For people with assets over 100 million. And in a recent speech, he said the tax increases should focus on the wealthiest taxpayers. Of course, seen here, just sniffing those feathers. Sometimes you just got to sniff the feathers. Now, I looked up some federal data about the so-called working people. They pay about 99% of the taxes you would normally see due. The wealthiest, they are able to shield large portions and sometimes pay just over around 50% of what is normally due here. So we're seeing a lot of FUD, a lot of people supporting it on one side, a lot of people against it on another. Now, Crypto Crow, I have a feeling you have some strong feelings on capital gains tax. What do you think about bumping it from 20 to 40? It's only for people with assets over 400K. Would it be that disastrous for the economy? I mean, would that be a good way to help pay for our Stinger missiles sent into Ukraine?
So I know it's going to help my property value in Puerto Rico go up. So that's a good thing. But then if I ever do sell it, then they're going to want to take more of the capital gains if I did sell it at a profit. So, here's the thing about taxes. When you're talking about income tax, you have a lot of write-off opportunities. Like what does it cost for you to run your business? There's a lot of write-off opportunities in income tax. Capital gains tax, however, there are no write-offs. The only way to offset capital gains is with capital losses. And so, you almost have to take your entire portfolio and kind of wash trade it real quick. You sell everything when it's a much lower than it was when you bought it, then you buy it back up, and there's still no loopholes, or there's still loopholes that enable people to do that. A 40% capital gains to me, though, is outrageous, only because not only am I the one investing the money and risking the capital that I've already paid taxes on, then because I'm making that risk, if I happen to win on that risk, then they want to double dip again. And then they want to take another bigger portion of that money and give me very few outlets or opportunities to offset that. And it's like, why do they continue going after like this whole narrative about we're not going to raise taxes on anyone making over or under $400,000? Well, then where's inflation is a tax? People don't realize it. They don't really have anything to say about it. Like, oh, see, he's not increasing our taxes, even though the cost of everything that, like, if I want to build a new house right now, it's probably going to cost me twice what it would have a few years ago, because all of the materials and everything are being constrained, and not everything about the economy right now has been intentionally manipulated to increase the cost of everything, because they don't want us spending that money because it offsets the inflation. And inflation is a tax on everyone. So they don't want everybody working now. They want everybody paying out the ass for a cheeseburger or a carton of eggs, because it helps to offset the inflation that was put into further motion because of all of the endless money they keep printing and sending overseas to cover their own asses, and for a multitude of reasons. And it's absolutely insane. And now they're looking at crypto to basically offset that. And there's one last point that I'll make, and then I'll just listen to everybody. Even though a 40% tax is asinine, and there's no real excuse for it, other than, they are trying to tax people that are not only rich, but people that are trying to get rich. Because in a crypto market, there's a good likelihood that if you bought in at the bear market and you held till the peak of the bull market, you're probably rich now. So you're going to get taxed to hell. So whether this affects you today can very well affect you tomorrow. The other side of that is the unrealized capital gains, which is a whole other story that isn't mentioned, which thank God, because that would literally destroy the entire societal makeup of any homeowners, inheritance, you name it. It was just, at that point, we become a true communist, like socialist country, because that is exactly how they operate. So we'll wait and see. That could be next in line if this stuff gets kicked off.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you brought up unrealized gains and realized gains. Firoz, I have a sneaking suspicion. I'm judging by your glasses, judging by your books, I'm judging by your accent. Could you help explain, what is the difference between realized, capital gains taxes and unrealized capital gains taxes?
So realized capital gains tax is where you've actually sold out and you've made a profit, rather than just staring at your magic internet money going up and down. And unrealized gains is actually you just looking at that figure. You haven't sold, you haven't made a taxable transaction, and therefore it's kind of sitting at 100 million. Now the issue there is that if you're taxed on unrealized gains, well, you're pretty much screwed at that point, because you may not want to sell that this year. In fact, that means they're forcing you to sell it in order to actually pay your taxes, which I think is just absolutely awful. Luckily, we don't have that in the UK. Our capital gains is obviously paid at the moment you sell out and make a gain, more than anything else. But in simple layman's terms, that's what it is. It's the money you have in your bank is realized, and the money that you don't quite have yet is unrealized.
Yeah, and a good way to kind of tie it to crypto. Say you mine Raven coin at home. You wouldn't get a tax hit until you sell your Raven coin. Well, then they would say, well, at the end of the year, you created $1,000 worth. Give us $400 worth. So yeah, obviously, not a great thing. Now, Evan, I believe you're the youngest one here. I mean, is this stopping this new, this working class is one term, the poors is another, the not gonna make it. Are we able to beat the rat race with these laws in place? I mean, if they give us 40% unrealized capital gains tax, is it possible to maybe become independently wealthy without just a crazy amount of luck?
Well, yeah, it's definitely going to make it harder, like Crypto Crow was saying. I mean, yeah, obviously, the main thing here, I think, the people that they're kind of going after, you got to realize, like the ultra rich, that's all a bunch of nonsense. Let's just say ultra rich, go after them. They don't have an income. That's why they don't pay taxes. They never sell, like Jeff Bezos. He just keeps borrowing against his Amazon stock, so he doesn't pay a penny in taxes. The real people with the high demographic, I think this is the demographic that kind of separates America from a lot of the world and gives us our strong middle class, which is kind of the baby boomers, which have a lot of money in 401ks, IRAs. Now, they're not going to say this right away, but I think the thing that they're going to have to really, to get a lot of this money, the people with a ton of money, people in their 60s, people in their 70s, go after those 401ks, go after those IRAs, And then to make it more socialist, make it more hard to get up, go after the younger people that made a lot of money in crypto. So I think that's the main ones that they kind of have to go after. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen more and more. And a lot of people just don't understand kind of how the system works. You would have to do I forget how you would do it. Like, I know people don't like to talk about Liz Warren, but it was funny. The only politician I've ever heard who actually kind of had a plan for actually taxing, the ultra wealthy, like Jeff Bezos, like people that just borrow against their shares. She's the only person to actually mention something like that. But I don't think it ever would happen that way. I think ultimately the two things that they're going to go after are people that are younger and made a lot of money in capital gains, go after them, tax them at 40%, and then go after baby boomers, go after 401ks, go after IRAs. That's where the money is, and you need a lot of money. Like, they're going to raise taxes regardless on other things. We know that the tax rate's going to go up to pay off all this debt. They're going to try to do it. It probably won't work, but they're going to try to do it.
Okay, so maybe tax that top 10%, subtracting from that 0.01 top percent. They'll be able to get out, but the typical baby boomers. All right, well, Sam, I believe we're around the same age. I've heard from literally every single president or even a presidential nominee, we're going to raise taxes on the rich. We're going to raise taxes on the rich, or at least on the left side here. I've never really seen it happen. My theory is, well, the rich people, they've obviously bought both sides. What are your thoughts on the chances, the probability that this comes to pass, and maybe that 0.01%, that those top wealthy Americans, they will end up paying more? What are the Vegas odds for Sam Price?
Vegas odds are low. Here's the deal. I'm not saying I'm rich, but I know a few people that got rich. Let's say once you get rich, you afford an accountant and a tax attorney, and you also have a lawyer. You have a tax lawyer. You have 4 people that you employ. You give them each $5,000 for a couple of months of work, and they're going to find a way to create subcorps and corps underneath subcorps. And the rich have a way to never pay a dime. And honestly, these are Obama's laws. He put in corporate laws. These are the same laws that the same Democrats telling you that they want to save you. These are the same people that helped empower a lot of their own buddies and corporations at the time when they were in office. The United States has beautiful corporation tax laws. Once someone opens up a corporation, it's a completely different tax zone. They're not playing in the same playing field as an average person. So the average person doesn't understand this. They don't empower an accountant. They do their own taxes or go to TurboTax and stuff like this, like 80% of America. The top 1% are going to find a way to circumvent away from paying it anyway, or they're going to find a way to make more money and just pay for that tax. Like, they'll figure out a way. And honestly, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I'm in the highest tax bracket in America, and I wasn't always. I was in the smallest one. And to get there, I had to work my complete butt off. Like, I'm talking 7 days a week for over 4 years. I haven't taken a day off. So, like, when everyone gets mad at someone who's wealthy and rich, like, they work their butt off. Like, and we employ people that make money give jobs to other people. Like, when I just worked for my own, when I had a job and I just went to work all day and sat in a cubicle, I didn't give anybody money. I didn't empower anybody. I didn't bring anything to the economy. I didn't build America, So, like, the entrepreneurs, the people that are pushing forward, the people that are innovating, you want to keep hitting them. You want to keep taking us down. Like, I'm getting a little passionate here. It's coming out from me from the inside because I worked so hard to get where I'm at. And I used to, honestly, when I didn't have money, I used to look at millionaires and be like, oh yeah, pay, they just get their daddy's money. But you know what? That's a farce that's been told to people with less money so they can, cheer on these taxations. Eventually it becomes you. If you want to become wealthy and successful, eventually it's going to be you. And like, even in Massachusetts, you make over $1 million, they want another 4% on top of that. Anyone who makes millions of dollars, I'm telling you right now, is working so hard to achieve that. I get there's a few people with a silver spoon, but don't get it twisted. People make more money when they put in more effort. You know what I mean? And that's just my.
I actually have some facts kind of backing up what you're saying. If let's just say all Americans, you just break it down into 100 people, the richest guy to the poorest guy. The number one guy, that one guy has 30% of the dollars, 30%. The bottom 50 people, they have 3% of the dollars. So that one guy has 10x the bottom 50 people, just for a little bit of clarity there. And Firoz, the lone person, not American here, how close are we to an oligarchy, just real quick? And in your just general opinion, are we not close at all, or are we, knocking on Russia's door?
No, it feels like we are banging on Russia's door, to be honest. I mean, taxation is just such it's a bit of a horrible subject. I agree with Sam as well. You know, you do work hard in order to get where you want to get to. And I agree with Jason as well in terms of the amount that we're having to pay, because based on our own risk tax that we've already paid, and then we're taking the risk of being in crypto, trying to make it, we're making losses, but yet we're still being taxed. So yeah, no, I think we are getting very close.
Real close. I would agree. All right, well, let's talk about HBAR, and I want to share this graphic on CoinMarketCap. There is some, I'm just use their words. According to Hedera's official tweet, Hedera is facing network irregularities. Please kindly check their socials for more updates. We're going to get into the details of this, but my first question, I'm going to ask Evan, the trader here. It's down 6.3. Hedera had a hack or the irregularity. Why is it down less than Bitcoin is? Could you explain that?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I've been very bearish on this one. Big surprise, like a lot of others. Let's just get the chart up here. I just want to show you. I mean, my main trajectory was like kind of down to this area. Kind of, you see the trend reversal right here in the weekly, and then the red dot. I was thinking we repeat something of this nature. Also, if you look at very gapped RSIs and market cipher B, I can't really answer why it's down less than Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of a short squeeze, a big bear and bull fight. Sometimes people like to have fun, with those type of things. But my main trajectory is that if it didn't come down, it will come down. And I think kind of you're looking at kind of this area, this trajectory into kind of middle to late this year. People ask me about this a lot. So my answer with this is to, whether somebody should invest in it or not financial advice. My answer is the same as like any altcoin. You want a diversified portfolio that you should probably start to get in probably in about 6 to 12 months when Bitcoin dominance rises to somewhere hopefully around 50%. And it looks like more of the altcoin pairs will finish bleeding against Bitcoin. Right now, it looks like they will continue to bleed against Bitcoin for at least until the summer, probably at least until the Fed starts to pivot.
All right. Well, getting kind of into the details of what happened, I'm just going to use a quote, which I totally know and understand. The exploit has targeted the decompilation process in the Hedera network. Of course, again, I know exactly what that means, but maybe some viewers might need a little clarity. Firoz, you said you might have a little bit of an insight of what's happening here underneath the hood. What does that mean exactly? Decompilation process in the Hedera network? I'm guessing some data goes up in a vacuum and it spits out differently. I mean, what does that mean?
Man, to be honest, it sounds like damage control without necessarily giving out what's actually happened. I mean, they've suffered like a 65% drop in their total value locked. I mean, that's quite big. Okay, that means people are scared. People are scared. They don't want to lock their funds in the actual HBAR ecosystem at the end of the day because they're afraid they might lose it. So you've got a massive withdrawal from the community from there. The other thing to bear in mind is that this attack has affected several dApps, LP tokens, wrap tokens. So again, there are lots of people relying on Hedera services. So I think when they come out with something very convoluted like this, it is there to kind of throw people off because I don't know what the hell it means anyway, if you ask me, in all honesty. But what I do know is that it's more, trying to do a bit of damage control. Now, one of the interesting things is, and that you mentioned before, it hasn't dropped as much as most people would expect. But I think that's also potentially just partly due to the community. It does have a very big community. There are a number of large influencers behind the scenes as well that generally sort of pump HBAR all along the way. But I'm going to say something slightly different, which is, focus on some of the dApps that have also been affected as a byproduct of what's going on. And I'm going to say it again, guys, don't fade Stater on this one because Stater lost a lot and Stater has a lot to give next month.
All right. Well, Crypto Crow, he brought up the community of HBAR. I want to ask you, Crow, are you an HBarbarian? And could you speak a little bit on community? Say they do have ongoing issues. Say it takes them a long time to fix this. Can a strong community keep it alive and, keep performing CPR until the next bull market?
Absolutely. I mean, the Solana community does it. And look at that shit. I'm just kidding. No, really. Yeah. Community is obviously a pretty big thing in the crypto space because the more people you have hoping for the best and they're all invested and they're all kind of pumping each other up all the time. I mean, listen, Cardano has an abundant, huge community. People call it a cult. And I did a joking video where I put a picture of myself in the priest outfit and everything. Like, I must be the priest of Cardano. If this is a church, then here we go. Let's do it. So yeah, community is obviously a really big deal. But the thing of it is that the community should obviously reflect the reality of the blockchain. And when you're talking about projects like Solana or Hedera, listen, I actually liked Hedera back in 2017. And I thought, or maybe it was 2018. And I thought, this looks like really cool, promising technology. Its throughput seemed really good. Everything about it seemed pretty good. But for whatever reason, I never pushed the button on it. There was just something about it that just didn't click with me. I've talked about it numerous times over the years. And then, through the markets, it's just not performed very well. And I don't know why. I mean, in my opinion, it just hasn't performed very well. And I ended up marrying Cardano instead. And I don't really have anything against Hedera. I hope it does well. I hope this gets sorted. We've got over a year until the halving. So they have over a year, in my opinion, to iron out what this is and make sure it never happens again. And then the community can rally back and get things going and obviously buy in at a low. And then when it goes up to, what was its all-time high? 8 cents? No, I'm kidding. I don't remember what it is.
It's 50. We got the chart right here.
50 cents. 50 cents. Well, that's fantastic. So it's 5 cents now. So listen, if it goes back up there, then more power to everybody. I hope it does do well.
All right, and just a little fact check. The ICO was August of 2018. So you're right. It was 2018.
18.
All right, now, Sam, what are your thoughts on HBAR? It does have that strong community. It fell less than Bitcoin. And, at Crow's point, hey, the halving doesn't really feel that far away where, we might start getting that first leg up on the bull market. Can it survive? And what is up with this recent price action?
It's funny. I think I may have told this story on Around the Blockchain before. I was at a summit in New York 3 or 4, about 5 years ago. It was a while back. And I met Charles Hoskinson. And I asked him about HBAR because I was worried that it could take over Bitcoin because it was Hashgraph and had a different type of technology. And I was just saying, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And he was like, stay away from that centralized garbage. He was he didn't like it. And me already owning Cardano. And I have a lot of respect for Charles. When I buy a coin, I like to buy the people that made the coin, the people behind the coin, not just the name of the coin. So when I bought Cardano, I felt like I was investing in Charles long term. And I believe he's going to accomplish what he's going to achieve. And so I've always, ever since he told me that, I stayed away from it. You know what I mean? I did some deep dive into it. Swirlds, the guy who created it was connected to some big government agencies, seems like it's kind of backdoored into the NSA and stuff like that. I don't know. You could do your deep dive. The guy's name is Tom. Forget his last name, but I spent 4 or 5 weeks deep diving HBAR, but it was 2018. So it's been a while since then. I'm not a fan of the project. If anyone wants to look, I don't really I could look at the chart if you really want me to, but which I don't mind, if you're invested in it, just look at it on the daily real fast. Someone was asking me, I got a fib pulled, and we were looking at kind of a cup and handle there. There was a bit of hidden bullish divergence until today, and we got rocked. But that 706 retracement is nice. Thing is, you lost a point of control. When you lose a point of control and close a daily candle, you may come all the way back down to the value area low. So you'd be watching for this to stabilize. If it could bounce back up and retest the 618 and that point of control, that'd be a pretty good place to get in. Or even if it came up here and retested 7.5 cents, because that would give you even more strength. Otherwise, there's a chance it does fall down and double bottom here. Depends on what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin goes lower to 1,700,
Well, I have Boomerize just real quick. What is that fiat value of that value area low? That 4 cents, 3 cents?
Down here, 3.5 cents. Yeah.
3.5 cents. All right, appreciate that. All right, that is a level I'll be looking at. Hey, maybe I'll yellow in at that level because I remember early in Cardano. I'm not a high priest like Crypto Crow, but I'm like an apostate or something. I collect.
I've been
from
in since 2 cents, man.
I carry the hat around, and then I try not to skim too much for myself. But yeah, I remember seeing those mentioned neck and neck all the time, and now not so much. Now maybe Ergo a little bit more. But all right, let's actually we're gonna switch that third topic. I know we're gonna talk about an AI coin. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow, possibly. Just real quick for those who are wondering, it was the Chat GPT wannabe clone. Was it Crypto GPT? But yeah, like I said, we might talk about it tomorrow. We have a breaking story. New York Attorney General suing KuCoin, claiming that Ethereum is a security here. I have the article here from Decrypt. I believe this is the New York AG. Yeah, filed a lawsuit. Allegedly, they violated securities and commodity laws in the state. I think the commodities law is pretty interesting. I don't know if that's because of Bitcoin or Ethereum there, but that might be something there. And the lawsuit targets them for allegedly, falsely representing itself as an exchange when really it's a securities and commodities brokers dealer. Firoz, what do you think of that assessment? I mean, she just kind of laid it out pretty clear. Look, you're not an exchange. You're moving securities back and forth. If 99% of what you are selling and moving around are, just commodities, if you sell 1% is deemed a security by the SEC, should you just maybe lose your license and, suffer loss of being able to operate in the US?
I think it's just another pronged attack, right? We've seen the SEC pretty much trying to, say that everything other than Bitcoin is a security, and here is just another attack against another exchange in order to kind of bring this further down. I think that's what it really is, and I don't agree. Not that I can make much of a difference whether I do agree. I don't. I'm on this side of the pond, but again, if you kind of look at it from a grassroots perspective, to me it just feels like we've got bad news. Let's throw as much more bad news as we can. Let's scare some of the investors. Let's spook some of them. But all you're really going to end up doing at the end of the day is you're going to start seeing innovation leave. You're going to start seeing large corporates, like KuCoin, for example, establishing their headquarters elsewhere. And in fact, they most likely will stop operating within the US. And if they stop operating within the US, then what that means is that there is less of a liquidity pool, certainly for US residents, to be able to get involved in this wonderful space that we're in. It's a great money making space. Let's be honest. That's the reason I'm here, not necessarily for the tech. But again, once we start doing things like this, we start pushing away innovation elsewhere. And the only people that it hurts are, unfortunately, the US. But then again, it feels like another episode of the rich keeping the rich ripper, and really the poor not really getting a chance to kind of take part in some of that generational wealth that's clearly happening.
All right. Well, Evan, I think Firoz bringing up a good point. You were pushing this industry overseas. You're from New York. This is from the New York AG. They just came after Kraken last week or last month. What is going on with the state? And is New York going to be responsible for pushing crypto out of the U.S.?
I'm actually from Connecticut, but I used to work at a law office in New York City. So
for some,
enough,
I thought you were from near Frankie's area. My fault. It's
but
close.
Yeah, I was very close to New York. You're close enough. I have lived in New York City, but yeah, no, I think the thing with this is like I think if you kind of read between the lines, I kind of saw this coming, at least something like this, because I think it was Gary Gensler that said all the things are a security kind of except Bitcoin. I think it was him that said it a few weeks ago or about a month ago. And it was kind of the thing I've been talking about. I thought more regulation and FUD. And what I obviously couldn't predict this exact thing, but just what we were seeing is kind of, I think just more regulation and FUD is going to come with all the altcoins, including Ethereum. And I think it just corresponds with what I've been looking at the charts here, what I want to show you real quick on the trajectory of ETH Bitcoin. And I know this is going to sound harsh, guys, but I think that we may see ETH bleed against Bitcoin, worst case scenario, a little over 50% in the next, 6 to 12 months here. Probably best case scenario, let's see what this one is, about 20, 25%. But that's going to be, what I want to say here, everybody, talks about, these other type of things happening, capital gains tax bad. You got to be stoic about it and look for the opportunities. There's going to be a big, big buying opportunity for Ethereum towards the end of the year into early next year if it does pan out this way. And I think that that could be the difference is twice as many gains that you may get. This could be the difference between maybe as opposed to a 10x the next bull run. Maybe you're looking at a 20x or maybe even more because we'll come out even stronger. And I think the big hands, the really strong people are kind of happy about this because they're just waiting for it. Just be patient. I feel like a lot of retail just hasn't been patient enough. They've been buying all these altcoins and all these, little bear market rallies, and it's just not working out the best way. The other thing I want to say in terms of, regulation in the US is, look, our ancestors, if you live in America, likely your ancestors came from another place in search for a better life. That's why they went here. There are other countries with different laws. Look for places to potentially, this isn't any type of advice, but look for places to potentially move to that are better, that way suit your needs better. That's what you got to look for. And you don't need to be that overly rich for that. A lot of these places may be even cheaper to live in than America. So look into that. You got to be prepared.
All right. Well, Sam, when it comes to crypto, a lot of times I'll listen to the two things I got on my shoulders. I got the angel on one side. I got the devil. When it comes to buying crypto, I only listen to that guy. Now, on one side, hey, they say ETH is a security and they're just trying to protect citizens. They're just trying to protect me. But then on the other end, I see this and it makes me think, and from the article here, just last month, the same regulator fined Kraken $30 million. Is this just a shakedown? That's what the devil's saying. So is this feeling like, hey, they're just trying to protect their constituents? Or is this feeling like maybe a $30-50 million shakedown?
New York was the worst. I lived in New York for 19 years, and they shut my Bittrex account down. I had to leave Bittrex, right? When I first started trading, I was so happy when I moved to Massachusetts because it opened up like so many options for me, and I was able to have more exchanges, and I felt freer. That must how people feel when they leave the United States and they go to Dubai or some other country where they can really be free in cryptocurrency. Looks like a shakedown to me. Most of this, I don't like name dropping, but LJ, I'll say she tends to kind of go after, news, and a lot of these people say, hey, crypto's in the news. What can I do now? I've had this on my desk for this long. Let me go get myself an interview. Let me, who knows if she has a book coming out. I really, they do it for the guise of the actual customer. But where were they when Carnegie Mellon's pension was getting taken, for shambles? Where were they when Bank of America was getting hit with money laundering? And where was HSBC? Go type in HSBC in Google and laundering. They've paid billions of dollars almost every year for the last 10 years until they're insolvent. They're gone now. They turned to a new bank. But so these people claim they were always here for us. They claim they were trying to protect us. They let pensions get pillaged. They let so many things. And now they're going to go after some overseas KuCoin account in Seychelles. I don't even know how to say the name of where they're at. So I don't know, man. To me, it's a political, news grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope that someone else truly cares about us. But every time someone says they care about us, like they said they care about us with the SEC recently, but they were going to stop the money. Like Ben was saying, they were going to stop the money. That law firm was not going to let the people get the money from BlockFi, right? So like, it was just like, it's just crazy. Like the SEC was going to fine them the money that would have actually went to the people, the customers that got hurt, So it's like, I don't trust these people who claim to help us and they're trying to protect us. I've never seen it. Like, show me when you really protected us.
Yeah.
So,
there's great points there. Now,
I want to believe it's right, but I don't.
I want to believe too. And I'm not just talking about Fox Mulder here. All right. Well, Crypto Crow, when I first heard this, I was, I want to pull up this coin real quick. NYAG after KuCoin. Clearly, it's because of KCS, the KuCoin token. I think it stands for KuCoin shares. I guess now it's the token. I was like, oh, clearly they're going after them for this reason. But then, no, they filed a lawsuit because Terra USD, and ETH are securities, and they're selling these as securities. It didn't even mention the token, but they're really attacking Ethereum here. What are your thoughts about Ethereum being a security when it comes to this case? Is this going to have reverberations that go nationwide, that go globally? Is this maybe just isolated to New York, and perhaps they even lose this case?
I think they're only talking about Ethereum right now because I don't necessarily know that the case against XRP is going as planned. And so now they're looking for another target. And the thing of it is this whole thing is playing out almost like a West Side Story, right? You've got the SEC and the CFTC, and they both got their boys, and they're going to go fight and dance in the street until somebody comes out with the territory. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'm looking at an article right now where the CFTC chair calls Ethereum a commodity, in contrast to the SEC
like 2 days ago, right? Yeah.
It's 11 hours ago, at least the article. And so you've got both of these groups fighting over whose territory is this. And now you see, oh, well, this relationship is getting pushed into action. So they need to come out and file what you can. And then, both sides of the fence are basically trying to war this out. And, to be honest, I don't know enough about how regulation works or is or exists to better understand the nuances behind what does it mean politically if the SEC takes over? What does it mean politically if the CFTC takes over regulation of the crypto space? What does it mean in terms of taxes? What does it mean in terms, like, there's so many different variables to this, and I don't really understand. Is it just about, is it about money and fines? Like the SEC is like, we want carte blanche to go after whoever we want, whatever we want. And we don't really want to put out any hardcore, transparent, solid regulatory frameworks because that doesn't really help us. That doesn't work for us. So we don't want to do it. And maybe the CFTC is saying, well, you haven't done it yet because it's not even your territory to do it in. this is our job. Somebody needs to acknowledge that so we can get to work. I don't really know 100% either way. I just know that the battle's heating up as we get closer to the next halving. And I think everybody knows that a lot of things are going to start happening very quickly in 2024. And I think everybody wants a piece of that pie.
Now, I know it's separate with the NYHE and the SEC, but I think it's a fantastic theory about, maybe this case with XRP isn't going as well as they expected. So, hey, it's like the Terminator finding the next target. They're just sizing up everything. So, all right, it looks like that is all we have time for. Crypto Crow took it home. It was a close one. We went a little long because of Bitcoin crash. But Crypto Crow, I'm going to leave it to you. Leave us with some parting thoughts and maybe answer the question, is Cardano a security?
According to them, they said no, because anything that's got a proof of stake network is not necessarily considered a security. And that's basically from the words of this actual article. Apparently Gensler said something to that effect. I don't know. I didn't see it myself, but he was quoted as saying such. So at which point, if he said that, well, Ethereum is now proof of stake. And maybe that's one of the reasons why they changed everything from proof of work. I don't know. But hey, you know what? Make sure you follow me on YouTube because I need to grow a little bit. I'm too old to work too hard. And while you're at it, check out the murderofcrows.io and grab a funny little picture. How about that?
Yeah, we're trying to grow his channel, not his height. We don't need to zap his pituitary gland or anything. All right,
I wish somebody would have.
Right at age 12, you'd be my height at that point. All right, that is all we have time for. Make sure you go into the description below, check the links, make sure you're sub to every single channel here. We love these guests, so we want to really show some support. Go watch their last video, leave a comment, leave a like. Who knows, even maybe leave a thumbs down. I don't care. Obviously not. That is all we got time for. Until next time, easy out.